Hello. Hello, hello. I am so excited for this session today. We are going to get you guys on more stages. We're going to get you booked. We're going to really get your voice out in the world. And I'll tell you, that's one of my big missions in this world is to raise up the voices of 1 million women around the world. And I'm always about raising up women's voices. And that's what we're going to be doing today. We have an incredible panel that are experts in the world of speaking. And I am excited that to have you guys, meet these women and really start to know who they are, to hear their wisdom, to hear their expertise, because these women have been doing stages for a long time. And so definitely you are going to love these women and just really get to, know more about how you're going to be taking your speaking to the next level. As you guys are logging in, I'm loving that you guys are saying hello. Tell us where you're at, where you're joining us from, and so that you can just start to connect with each other. Tell us what you do, and we'll get going. So, as I mentioned earlier, I am on a mission to raise up the voices of 1 million women around the world, and I believe that women's wisdom is the medicine our earth needs. It's really something that our voices are going to be making a difference in this world. And so I want all of you to really look for this space that you're raising up your voice and getting your voice out in bigger ways. Speaking has been a tool in my business for a long time. I've leveraged speaking, and I'll tell some stories later on as we dive into this about how speaking at one point was not part of my mix. And what it's done over the last decade that I've really embraced speaking to be a part of my business. It's definitely selling from the stage has brought in over $1 million into my business over the years. It's my Ignite conference is consistently brings in over 6 figures. So it's a good way to grow your business, to grow your clients. And I think it's something that just really works. And it's an important part of an ecosystem and a marketing ecosystem, if you will. And so we'll be talking about that and diving in. Today, we're going to be talking about why stages, both big and small, are really one of the best ways that you can attract clients into your business, how you can turn your voice into a magnet for attracting new clients into your business, and what it really takes to get booked and to stay booked, to keep yourself getting onto stages, and then ways that you can integrate your speaking into your overall marketing ecosystem. We have an incredible panel today, and let me introduce these amazing women. First up, we have Tony Caruso. Tony has over 30 years in event production. She helps experts, speakers, and thought leaders stand out and monetize their message. She empowers professionals to inspire, lead, and connect by sharing their genius on stage. Tony teaches speakers to align their vision with their audience's values, building trust and lasting impact, whether on the stage or behind the curtain. She's a force in the speaking industry, empowering professionals to lead with purpose, inspire change, and have a lasting legacy. She's the executive director for the eWomen Speakers Network and the current executive managing director for the North Dallas chapter. She puts on events called Speakonomics, an amazing series. If you get a chance to go to a Speakonomics event, they're so good. They're really good. I've gotten an opportunity to attend a couple of them. And they're really good. I know you're going to be in Calgary tomorrow or later this week. So welcome, Tony. I'm thrilled to have you here.
Oh, thank you. I'm excited to be here. And don't you love ChatGPT? They make you sound so good with introductions.
Totally. Well, you're doing amazing things. So it's easy to make you sound good.
Oh,
It's
I just
definitely
think
easy
that's
to
funny.
make you sound good. Carrie Conley, Carrie and I have known each other for so many years. We were in a mastermind back together, I don't know, like probably 15 years ago. It's been a long time that we were in a mastermind together. So I've known you for a long time. She's a nationally recognized speaker, author, and entrepreneur specializing in helping team leaders and small business owners create game-changing visions for their life and careers. She has built multiple businesses over the past 30 years. That's so amazing that you've been an entrepreneur for over 30 years. And it's like just really being that and putting that out in the world. And it's clear that her vision and purpose is here to help people make a bigger impact on the people that they lead. Welcome, Carrie. I'm thrilled that you're here.
Thank you, Kim.
And then Monica Vaughn works with business professionals and entrepreneurs who struggle with clarity and confidence when communicating their business, whether one-on-one, on Zoom, or from a stage. With over 20 years of face-to-face hospitality experience and expertise in emotional intelligence, NLP, and body language, she creates dynamic training programs that help individuals and teams bring more authenticity to every interaction, online, in person, and out in the world. In a time when digital communications allows us to curate every detail, Monica emphasizes the irreplaceable power of human connection, from reading body language to sensing energy in the room. And these real-time skills are critical for building trust and creating meaningful relationships. Welcome, Monica.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Yeah. Are you guys excited to hear from these amazing women? Drop a heck yeah in the chat, and let's dive in, because we've got a lot to cover. We're going to dive in today. I know some of you have submitted questions. We'll have time to work on some of those questions. As we're going through this today, look for opportunities. If something's really lands for you and you're like, oh my gosh, that's an amazing tip that I want to take away, type in the chat golden nugget. And let's keep this chat going. I'm going to start with this first question. And Tony, I'm going to start with you.
Oh, good.
Let's start with the stage itself. Why do you believe speaking, whether on big stages or in more intimate settings, is still one of the most powerful ways to build trust and attract aligned clients? And for the women in our audience who want to make speaking a bigger part of their growth strategy, what does it actually take to get booked and stay booked? So a big question, right, with a lot of different angles to it. But I want to give that over to you, and just go ahead and dive in.
Awesome. Well, I'm very excited to be here. And as being an event planner for so many years, I sat in the back of the room and watched speakers, and some were just great, some not so great. And I truly believe that you can spend your life doing one-on-one consultations. You can go to coffee in the morning, you can go to lunch with your client, whatever. But my gosh, wouldn't it be nice to be in front of a room, 20, 30, 40, 200 people, and then it's your message being engaged with a larger group, getting a larger number of people to know, like, and trust you. And it saves time. Let me tell you, isn't it a lot better to get in front of a room filled with your ideal clients than to be having all these individual Zoom meetings and everything? And you never know. You'll say, oh, it's a 20-minute consultation call, and it ends up being an hour. It's a time suck. Let's be honest. So what I suggest everyone do is find, even if it's your first time, find that group that has your ideal audience in it. Go to it, get to know the people, and get the opportunity to do 5 minutes in front of them, 10 minutes in front of them. It's all about visibility. But the key here is you need to have a really great message, and you need to hone that clarity in your message so that people can then get engaged by you and go, oh, you're the one that I need to meet. That's the one thing that I see a lot of speakers have a mistake about, is they get up there and they put on this speaking persona, and they're like, "Hey, how's it going? Nice to be here." And then they get off the stage, they're a totally different person. It's inauthentic. So just figure out what your message is, who you want to serve, and what your unique selling proposition is, and why people should work with you. And that's what you focus on. Get up there and just share your stories. Share your ups and your downs, and share how you got out of that rut and why people should join you in your community, buy your programs, get your services, whatever it is that you are selling or offering. Make sure that's really clear to them on why you're the one that they need to hear from. I'm kind of going all over the place, so I just want to make sure that I answer your question. Speaking is so important, whether it's one-on-one or one-to-many. If you don't really have a clear message that you can say, and I always teach this at Speakonomics, say your message in 11 words or less so that people go, ooh, I want to hear more. I want to know you. Stop selling and marketing to them and start having conversations with them.
I love it so much. And just a real quick add into that about getting booked, and we'll cover this more in the questions, because that's the number one question that popped up there, and the questions that were submitted. But just anything that you want to add to that as far as
Yeah, absolutely. You got to get out of the sea of sameness. Stop with doing titles for your talk. I can 10K your business in 10 days. We don't care. get a juicy, really nice, sexy title, something that stands out to the event planner. Make sure you have a very professional, either one sheet or speaker page on your website. Make sure that you have a video of yourself speaking. Because let me tell you, I was going through booking speakers one time, and it was a cryptocurrency client, and I didn't know anything about cryptocurrency, and I'm looking at these videos, and this woman, all her videos, she spoke in Romanian, and I'm like, can you speak English? You know, so she could have been a great speaker, but I didn't know if she spoke English. Make sure you have a very tight and not a fancy speaker sizzle reel. Make sure it's 2-3 minutes of you talking and engaging with an audience. So we know you can walk, you can talk, and you can engage, and there's not you're not standing behind a podium holding on for dear life, you know?
Oops, what happened? We lost your voice all of a sudden. Are you guys hearing me?
Yes, I hear you.
Okay.
but not.
Okay. Tony, do you have sound still? No, we don't hear you. Okay. Monica, go ahead and why don't you respond to that question next?
Big question. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
it's a big question. And you know, it's like
oh, well, and it can go so many directions that first and foremost, I have to say it's about positioning and foundational human connection.
Mhm.
So you being up in front of a room, you know, up on a stage or just holding that microphone, you're already in a position of an expert, that you are someone to listen to. You've got something that the audience needs. And so just being in that position, first and foremost, fantastic. It elevates you and your credibility. And then also the whole purpose of doing what we do and wanting to be a speaker or being a speaker is to connect, connect, connect. So this is about, you know, we can connect, and now so many more people are used to being on Zoom these days, but we can really connect through the camera like we are today, but also in person. There is no replacing in-person events, right? Because it is about how we instinctually take people in and read people. It's about, you know, the tone of your voice. It's about, yes, the nonverbals, the body language that you bring. But something that a lot of people kind of miss because they're, you know, very focused on other things. It's about your presence and the energy that you bring. As far as building trust, it's like, how are they experiencing you and your alignment with your stories, with your purpose, with your clarity? People can sense that. They feel that. And so, yes, if you get the opportunity to be up in front of a room, or, you know, whether it's Zoom or in person, and like Tony said it's about one-on-one conversations as well. And so building relationships, human connection, those basics, building trust is what happens. And about that emotional resonance that you create with them through your stories and your clarity. I think the second part is about being booked, right? And so again, this goes back to I just think of this as relationship building. And, you know, as far as getting booked, relationships and who you know is the number one way to get on a stage. The number one, okay? And so it is just you being you, building that rapport. And then when it comes to you know, speaking on a stage, you know, starting small, or whether you're already, you know, out there speaking, you never know who you're talking to, right? You never know who they know, or what event they've spoken on, or what event they're going to, or they're like, oh my gosh, you have to meet this person, Carrie Conley. She's amazing, da 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 da. She's hosting an event, and this is for real. She's hosting an event out in Coronado, on San Diego, the end of September, right? So if I know you and I know what Carrie's event is, I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to connect you. You really want this speaker to come join your stage. So again, back to relationship, your stories, your alignment with you. People sense that, they feel that, building that trust, you're going to get referred. And then when you do speak on a stage, it's about you being really flexible, easygoing. You know, Cami, who's your audience? What do they need? Like, how can I help you help your audience? Building relationships, because those relationships will pay off in the short term and in the long term. And I've got a few stories wrapped around it, but I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I love the speaker or the relationship piece of it, because that, I mean, all day long, it's like my speaker opportunities show up for me without any I don't pitch. I don't ever pitch. It's like they show up. Monica, you and I met at we partnered up at an eWomen conference together. Do you remember? That was the very first time that we had a conversation. We partnered up in one of the breakouts, and we had a great conversation, and that led to a relationship. It's how it works. It's like relationship all day long. Speaker Flow does a report called State of the Industry, and they say that 65% of speaker bookings come from referrals. And that number's only going up every year. So I think that's really spot on. Carrie, how about you?
Well, I think specifically we want to talk about how you get booked as a speaker, right? Because I think that's everybody's number one question. How do I get on stages? And it's not what most people think. I love that we're really talking here about relationships and who you know, because for me, it's 100% that. I wish I could tell everybody, if you're wanting to be a speaker, that all you need to do is have a really beautiful website and a speaker agency and all the things that hang out your shingle, and people are going to start knocking on your door to ask you to come speak. I have found how I got booked is I started doing my own events first. So if you don't have stages you're on, you build your own. So I started as a speaker 15 years ago, doing my own little workshops. I think the first one I had like 8 people there, and they were my besties that showed up just to support me, right? But out of that, it worked. They loved the curriculum that I teach on vision and how to get it written, and they wanted more help. So then I created a coaching program and brought them into that. And so people and I network a lot. This is another thing. I'm a huge networker. So everywhere I go and I network, I tell people I'm known as a vision expert. I help you get your someday plan out of your head and onto paper so you can actually execute. And once I say that, I tell them I'm looking for places that I can speak, even if it's just for 15 or 20 minutes. Because I learned really, really well early on in my career how to get in front of a room to speak to sell. And that's the missing piece I think a lot of speakers don't want to talk about is, what do you mean sell from stage? You can make a lot more money when you learn to speak to sell than getting paid to speak.
Absolutely.
And I did it early on. So I just started doing my own stuff, and then people started asking me to come and speak.
Yeah, I love that. I love it so much, Carrie. And it's that was my journey as well, as I started hosting my Ignite conference. And this will be my 11th year of hosting Ignite. And that event has totally been you start bringing other speakers onto your stages, and, you're networking, you're connecting, all of that works so beautifully. And starting with your own stage is a great place to start, because you can start to bring clients into your business that way. And yes, to learning to speak to sell, because I think that's really important. It's an important part of that. Yeah. See, you guys covered a lot of what I had written down here that I wanted to talk about. But one thing that I think that we could add into the mix of this is how this really anchors your authority. And I think that as you take a stage, you are really becoming the authority in that space, and really learning to find your thought leadership message. So know what it is that you stand for, that is uniquely yours. And I call it your one message from the world. That's like to the world, that one message for the world. Tony, I love your 11 words, like you're getting really specific at what you want people to know. So you're really elevating how you're showing up as a leader. And that all day long will help you grow your business. The other part
I
of,
just want to know, can you hear me?
yeah.
Or-
Oh yeah, we
I took
totally
my
can hear
headphones
you.
off. I just want to also say one of the missing links we're not talking about is podcasting. If you're just
Yes.
starting out, there are so many opportunities to get on podcasts, and that hones your speaking skills and that gets you used to saying your message and answering questions. And it's a safe environment to jump into. And another thing is if you don't have, if you want to be a speaker, are you telling people you're a speaker? Is it on your Instagram? Is it on your LinkedIn? Is it on your Facebook page? Is it part of your bio? You got to tell people you're speaking on stages or they're not going to know. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's good. And it's because I think speaking can be an important part of our ecosystem, and it's what you wrap around that really makes your marketing work well. So speaking, you can go get on a single stage, and it's like, what are you doing around that to keep people engaged in your communities? And I think that's another important part of this. Are you offering trainings? Are you offering teachings on the backside? In fact, that's one of my favorite ways to bring people. If I am speaking at an event somewhere and inviting them into a workshop on the flip side of it is a great way to keep the conversation going as you're bringing people into your community. So another stat for you is 95% of successful leaders say public speaking is essential to their success, and that kind of authority filters into your overall brand impact. So it's authority, right? That's what's really starting to do this. So I thought I would share a little bit about what speaking looks like in my business from the perspective of as opposed to talking about marketing funnels when I teach, I don't talk about marketing funnels. That's kind of old school marketing in my mind. And I like to talk about marketing ecosystems and how speaking is a part of that, right? So when I'm looking at other people's audiences, speaking is a core way that I will do that, or guesting on other people's podcasts, that sort of thing. That's a great way to tap into other people's audiences. And then I have the community of people that know, love, and trust me already. So they're at the foundation of my marketing ecosystem. So how am I meeting their needs? How am I having conversations with them? They're on my newsletter? How am I engaging with them? My podcast, all of that sort of thing gives me an opportunity to engage with my community who already follows me. And in the middle of that ecosystem are those ways that we can teach, that we can bring our education to the table. And that is, as long as you're creating something that's consistent, that once somebody sees you on a stage, you want to give them places to learn more about you, because we know that Google will tell you that it's taking, I think people are taking about 11 hours of your content before they're ever getting to a place where they want to work with you. They're going out, they're listening to you, they're watching you. So all of it's really important to give them additional spaces to binge on you. And so that's a way to think about, building that ecosystem around your speaking so that people can really start to fall in love with you. A couple other tips that to think about is really how you hone your speaking skill set. And Monica hit on this a bit. It's like learning to speak from your soul and not your head. You've seen people, and Tony hit on this too. You've seen people that like just project messages out in the world. And what if instead you're actually embodying your message and you're letting that flow from you? So there's a real skill set and a talent to learning how to speak from your heart and your soul. Land your signature story. Know what your signature stories are, because you become so real and authentic when you're sharing your stories. We've touched on selling from the stage, and then the last thing I have is really having a good call to action so that you've got people coming into your business, so that you can continue to know, love, to nurture those people. So I've got another question for you guys. How do you integrate speaking with your other marketing efforts to attract clients? What does that look like in your business? And how do you make sure it's not just a one-time moment, but part of a much bigger, consistent visibility strategy that consistently attracts and lands clients into your business? So Carrie, do you want to kick us off with that one?
Well, so when I speak, whether I'm able to speak from stage or not, I always give away my free ebook, Vision is Victory. And that is my tip of my funnel, or lack of a better word, so that they land in my email database, Cami, so that I can now start nurturing them.
Yeah.
Send out newsletters a couple of times a month. I do workshops on a regular basis to invite them to, because you're right, it's multiple exposures and a lot of nurturing.
And by the way, I have that workbook. So
Yes.
I've done that workbook.
Thank you. Yeah, it's my signature thing. It's my modality that I use to walk people through how to get their someday plan out of their head and onto paper, right? So that is one way I bring them in, whether I'm doing, and I also offer it when I do podcasts. So thank you for bringing that up, because I am on a lot of podcasts. It's a great way to keep getting your message out. I always give away the ebook so that I can bring them into my castle, so to speak. And start nurturing them that way, so that I can tell them I offer this at this time, or I do this. So I give a lot of value first, and then we start inviting them to things in the future, like my events and my workshops and webinars and so on.
Awesome. I love that. Monica, how about you?
So many different directions to go with this. But what just popped into my head after listening to you, Carrie, is really pre-planning. The prep before, and then plan during, and then the after. Oh my gosh, like that is so important. Also, so with that, what are you doing with, the follow-up, is also looking at the big picture of your calendar, your life, your business, and what you have the capacity for. Because oftentimes, you could be like, speaking, and then you gotta whoop, kind of shift into fulfillment. And so this is all about how you're structuring your overall business, and how to, balance out the marketing and the fulfillment. So some speakers, and business owners out there have so many things in place that they can speak at any time, and they have the capacity to fulfill. Other times, and especially when you're in the beginning, you got to be careful, because you might overbook yourself, and then stress will come your direction, and then the fulfillment side gets compromised when you're working with your clients. And so I want to encourage you to think about that as well when you're scheduling. And Tony, good point. When you're first starting out, just to touch on this, is yes, get yourself on podcasts, because then you get to practice. You get to do repetitions that are, lower stakes, because you can just be in the comfort of your home, practice those stories or a new topic that you're teaching before you get out there on a live stage. This is kind of like exactly what comedians do, right? Comedians go to these small little theaters and test out their jokes to see if they're funny. And I've literally seen behind the scenes where comedians are taking notes, like, okay, that one's a bomb. But they're doing their research. But you getting in those repetitions will absolutely prepare you for the live in-person stages, when it matters more.
I love that so much. Thank you, Monica. How about you, Tony?
I think you need to begin with the end in mind. There are so many people that come up to me all the time. I want to get paid to speak. And I agree with you, Carrie. You make so much more money offering from the stage. I don't like to use selling from the stage, but just offering from the stage. So you have to understand, what is it you want when you walk off the stage? I had a woman come to me one time and say, I just want to bring joy. And I said, okay. And how are you going? Oh, I want everyone to be happy. I said, all right, so you have a lot of money then, right? And she's like, what? And I go, you can pay for the airline flight, the hotel, the food, the Ubers, everything that it costs to go and speak around the world to bring joy. And she's like, no. I said, exactly. It's a business. Speaking is a business. And if you don't look at it that way, it is going to nickel and dime you to death. People like, I just want to speak, and they fly across the country, and then they come back and go, nobody wanted to work with me. Well, it's because you didn't have a plan. You have to have a strategic plan. If you're speaking locally, you can speak free for all you want. It's good practice. It's great for you, but you have to have something that they are going to then capture that email address, because the money's in the email. The money is in the email, and it's in the community you're building. So no matter if it's the free ebook that Carrie has, or a downloadable PDF on the 5 mistakes speakers make when they step on stage, or whatever that is, You want to grab those emails because it's a nurture campaign, because you know there are people that are action takers. They're going to want to work with you immediately. And there's other people that are going to spend a year. And there are people that have come to me and say, okay, I'm ready. And I'm like, oh my God, where have you been for 2 years? You know, so you want to keep them in that nurture campaign and keep them going. So you need a strategic plan, and you need to know, number one, what is it you want when you want to walk off the stage? And then what is the stage about? There are so many different stages. And if you are not educated on the pay to play, the pay to percentage, the keynote, the free, whatever it is, you are going to make a lot of mistakes. So just educate yourself and take it like you would build a business, your own business. You're building your business on stage.
Yeah, love it so much. I love it. Okay, so we've got some questions that people have submitted, and if anybody wants to submit a question in the chat, you can do that as well. But I'll start with a couple, and we're not going to be able to get through all the ones that were submitted. And those, if you submitted something and we don't get it to you to get to your question today, I'll respond back to you personally on your question. First is from Renee, and she's talking about, for me, it's about getting booked on by folks outside of just my current circle. What practicalities, such as using a speakers bureau, or what other suggestions do you have to, to expand outside? We've talked about how important relationships are, and we're all booking through relationships. But what other opportunities do we have? Tony, would you like to kick off on this?
I'll jump right in on that one.
Yeah.
To be honest, if you are not a $25,000, $30,000 speaker, if you do not have that sort of cachet, do not hire a speaker bureau. I'm sorry if there's any speaker bureaus out there listening, because you just become a number. I was just reached out to today by a third party selling a speaker, and it was a male speaker, and I run a women's group. And so they hadn't done their research, and then they're like, oh, he talks on employee benefits. Well, we're all entrepreneurs. They don't do their research. They just start sending out these blank emails to people, and they say, well, I sent you out to 20 different stages this month. You're paying money, I believe, for things that you're not going to receive. It's all about the relationship. If there is a stage that your goal, and that's where you want to go to the event, be a participant in the event, get to know the event planner, help them out, say, hey, I'm here all weekend. I'm here if you need an extra hand, grab me, get known in there. Find out who are the speakers that are on the stage, connect with them, go on LinkedIn, who's producing these events, connect with them, get into their DMs. It's just, and we've talked about it, Monica hit on it the biggest. It's all about relationships and getting to know the people, because these third parties coming to me, and I tell you, I talk to a lot of people who do events. We usually delete them, so we don't even read them.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah,
That is very true. I just want to echo that, Tony. I get emails. I don't know who you are. Agency that this. I just straight delete. I don't even read them. Because when you are an event host, and Tony knows this the best, you get bombarded, with people reaching out. And if there's zero personal connection, most likely it will get deleted. Gotta find a strategic way through relationships. Definitely, Tony, like going to the event, connecting with people. Maybe you'll get the opportunity to speak the next year at that event, but stay open. Maybe it's 2 years out or more. But yeah, so I'll just wanted to echo that. Relationships, guys.
Relationships. And even if there's an organization that you want to go speak at, and you don't have, it's like, I don't have a contact into that organization, look for ways, look for connections, use LinkedIn, use your friends to make connections into that organization. For example, I just spoke to the Colorado Women's Bar Association. I didn't have that connection, but when a friend of mine who did opened up the door, and it was a warm relationship that opened the door all day long. Carrie, do you have anything else to add to that?
I just ditto. And I think this is the most, it's the hardest thing to talk about, because it deflates, I think, a lot of speakers to hear the truth about this, but it is the truth, right? That when you are submitting yourself to speak at an event, it's going in with thousands of other speaker submissions, right? So I think it gets really discouraging for people to hear this, but it is, I can tell you that I would even venture to say 100% of the speaking opportunities I have received has been because of the connections that I built and the relationships that I built with some pretty amazing speakers, right?
Yeah.
So it is getting out there. It's networking, it's getting known, it's building relationships, nurturing the relationships, and just telling people, hey, this is what I talk on. I'm looking for stages. Every time I network, I tell people that.
And Carrie, I loved what you said about having your own stage. So find people who have stages that have your ideal audience in them and that you are like a collaborative power partner. You have an event, they have an event, you switch stages. It's a great opportunity. I'm going to speak on your stage and I'm going to offer my event for $97 to your audience. You're going to get on my stage, you're going to offer your event because we both work really well together. It is one of the easiest ways to build your speaking credentials.
Yeah, and going back to podcasting, we've talked about that a lot. But if you have your own podcast and you're bringing guests onto your show, you're building relationships there. And I think that's been probably one of my biggest opportunities to build relationships is every week I'm having conversations with somebody new. And so how do you keep those relationships? So if you have a podcast, think about it from that perspective. If you're guest podcasting, it's also an opportunity to just keep those you're building relationships with people who have stages. So to look at it, it's always about building relationships. We touched a little bit on this, but this comes from Lauren, and she says, what's the best way to start without a lot of videos to send out? So again, we've talked about the relationship part of it. So, but having videos, and Tony, you already said we don't need the sizzle reel so much, but what would you guys all like to say about having video of you on stages to share with others?
I
Whoever
think
would
it's
like.
important because I want to know that you can talk, that you're not stumbling over your words, that you can walk and talk. But you know what? I always say for people who don't have any, invite all your girlfriends, get on a Zoom call, pretend it's an event, and say, "Hey, I'm so excited you're here today. We're going to be talking about this," and do your talk in front of them and put this into the chat. This is great. Oh my God, Carrie, I loved what you just said about that. And then record it. It's a video. It shows that you have energy. It shows that you have information that's pertinent to what I'm looking for. It's better than nothing. And there's no reason why you can't do that.
Cool. I love it. And the sizzle reel, are they in or out? I hear different stories on that.
I just believe the sizzle reel is more your introduction video because a
Okay.
lot of people, it's a sizzle reel. So they take a lot of pictures of themselves and snippets of them and they put them all together and they put beautiful music over it and they have a voiceover, but I don't get to hear you talking for a minute on your
Yeah.
subject. So to me, it looks like you're overcoming. I just remember we had one sizzle reel that I got, and it was a woman who I knew pretty well, and she ran a networking group, and all the pictures were her in different outfits in front of that same audience in different parts of the room. So I knew it was her in front of her networking group. That's the only people she'd spoken with, but she put it together and it made it look like, oh, she's a speaker. No, she wasn't. She hosted a networking group. So event planners want to hear you speaking. So it's not all the bells and whistles. I love a really good introduction video, and that's your sizzle reel.
Okay, cool. Carrie or Monica, do you have anything to add to that?
I feel the same way you do, Cami. Are they in or are they out, right?
Yeah.
I have one. I've had it for a while, and it's me on different stages clipped all together with some fun music and, just showing me on big stages, small stages, whatever. I don't know that so many people ask me for it.
Yeah.
And most of the stages that I'm getting on is because somebody referred me there and they don't need it. They've seen me speak or they trust the person that referred me. Right. So yeah, I just think it's I think again we're going back to the relationships. When you've got the
Yeah.
relationships built and they trust you, you're good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I'll just add that I think that, of course, if you have a link to a sizzle reel, fantastic. It's not something you must have. And also think about this too, the way that we've shifted in communication and the way we like to connect with people online is really like the behind the scenes, not perfect, totally produced type videos where we can have that formality, absolutely, with, like Tony said, with the voiceover and the music and all of that. And if you've got somebody in your audience or a group of friends and they just pull out their cell phone and they just capture you, it doesn't have to be overproduced. Just a basic video off of a cell phone will do the job.
Yeah, awesome. And Chrissy Bernal just said it's the same with a media kit. You don't always need them, but if somebody asks for it, it can be really valuable. So a lot of these titles, some things we've already touched on. What about, are there some key things to say? So this is from Johanna. Are there some key things to say so I actually land the gig? So if you're, I know, you all receive, and we all receive applications for speakers in our events and the things that we're doing. Are there anything that makes you like lean in and go, oh, I want to know more about this person? Go ahead, Monica.
Oh, no. And I was just like, yes, as I was thinking, like, it's when speakers communicate the problems that they're solving, and the problems that they're solving, like, my audience has. Like, that's why I put my hands in the air. I'm like, oh, that's exciting. Like, what is the value that you're going to be bringing to the audience? That's the most important. And I get excited about it.
Because you know what can happen on the backside. It's like it's helping your audience do different things and learn.
The key words is like, what are they going to receive from you? What are they going to take away is super key. Because there's so many free events these days. And so we only have so much time. So what is like, I gotta go listen to this. There was something that Cammie said, that got you here today. That the conversation we're having today is connected to some problems that we could help solve for you. So here you are. So anyway, I get excited about that. So
I love it.
Can I add on to that really quick?
Totally. Yeah.
My biggest thing is it's not about you.
Right.
It has nothing to do with you as a speaker. So take the I out of it. It's not me, I. I come from sitting in the back of the room and watching the audience. And my whole focus is the audience. So if you are coming to me and you want to pitch me to speak on my stage, do you know my audience? Have you listened to my podcast? Have you been in my room? Do you know the people? Because when you know what the audience is and what their needs are, and then you can vocalize, hey, listen, I was in your meeting the other day, and oh my God, these ladies are amazing. They are powerhouses. But the one thing that we were having a conversation was that they had a really different money mindset that I think that they need to look at. I just think it's keeping them from getting to that $1 million mark. I would love to come and share with them some really quick, easy tips that I believe they need. Again, what is it what the audience needs? You've been in my room, you know my community. Don't just be pitching off the cuff, because 10 to 1, if you're pitching off the cuff, you haven't done any research.
Yeah. Carrie, anything you add to that?
Oh, good, because it is about the audience, right? It's not about you trying to impress people. So, for example, the title of my talk usually starts with Vision is Victory, and then I add a subtitle based on the audience that I'm getting in front of. So if I know I'm getting in front of a lot of, let's say, speakers, right? I'm going to be talking to speakers and coaches in the room. I will use a subtitle around their pain points that I'm going to be touching on. Right? Like a lot of them I find out are running. I said this once at a women's luncheon and it just hit everybody. So I say it a lot, that I find out that they're running really expensive hobbies. So I will use Vision is Victory, talking about why you need to have a clear vision to change that into a money-making business. So you need to know, like Tony's saying and Monica's saying, you need to know your audience. You need to know what their pain points are, and you need to be able to very succinctly talk about how you fix that, how you resolve that for them, because that's why they're there. So you need to know who you're talking to.
Yeah, I love it. And I think the only other thing I'd add to that is I have just gone through the applications for Ignite speakers, right? So I had a bunch of speakers apply to be a speaker at Ignite. And as I've been going through them, I'm looking for topics that are going to support the theme of the conference, topics that are going to support what's happening in the world right now, and how do we address and how do we meet the times right now. And so, it's be thinking about those sorts of things as well. It's like, how are you really relevant right now in the mix of things? And how are you relevant for that specific event that meets what that planner is trying to, or that host of that event is trying to accomplish with that event. So that's just another thing to add into the mix of that. Let's see, what time are we? Well, we're right on time. So the next piece that I'm going to do one more on this. And we talked about follow-up. Is there anything else? Because Lisa asked this question, is like, how are you getting, how are we following up afterwards? We've touched base on this, but is there anything else that you want to just, how are you keeping people in the mix of things? How are you following up,
Is
Monica?
this about getting stages, or this is about clients?
About clients.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So how do you follow up the day after after you've been on a stage with with the people that came into your community? What are the steps you take?
Well, hopefully you're automated to the point that if they are downloading something or whatever, it's automated and they get it before they walk out of that room. If they're having to look for it, and then send them the email afterwards, just in case you didn't get it, here's another link to it. It was a pleasure, and make it so that, oh my gosh, it was so great being at Ignite with Cami, and the event was amazing. I hope you got out of it. I loved what this speaker said, or whatever. Really personalize and make sure that you are a part of the room and that you were there not only as a speaker, but a participant. So you become one of them. And then, just make sure that that's an automated message that goes off. Don't have a lot of one-on-ones to schedule, because that is going to really put you in the weeds. And I mean, Carrie could probably tell you, get on a stage with 200 people, 300 people. And what happens if 100 people want to do an hour with you? You just can't do it.
No. Carrie, how about you? What are you doing?
Well, definitely have it automated. So once people download my Vision Victory workbook, there are emails that are automated that goes out that welcomes them into my world.
Yeah.
Invites them to write their vision out and email me once they've done it. But then there's the personal connections, the people that when I get up on the stage and I speak and they come and talk to me afterward, and it's very clear in a couple minutes that I can help them right where they're at. Those would become inviting them to my next workshop in a group, or if there is a high probability of them becoming a client, then I will schedule a call with them for sure. But I do have different pockets I can put people based on their need, if I can fill their need, the timing, is it the right time for them right now, and what I have coming up.
Excellent. I love it. Monica?
I got something, and this is just shifted over to the reaching out to stages to get booked side. So in thinking about how many emails and how many touch points you need, with potential clients, think about that also in the way of reaching out to event hosts or podcast hosts. Don't just do it one time and be like, and like, oh, they didn't get back to me. Oh, that's out. You never know, because here's the truth. I just want to let you know, there's been one particular very persistent, very kind speaker who has reached out to me many times to speak here in Las Vegas. Her topic is a little outdated, okay? We haven't needed it yet. And so we've exchanged multiple niceties. This has been going on for 3 years. I'm not joking. And so I asked her, I was like, look, I told her, I'm like, this is a topic that I believe you can, upgrade or update. And once you do that, reach out to me and I'll book you. So think about that like, hey, what is it that you need, or how can I adjust? It's not a no if you don't hear back, but just if you are kind, warm, friendly, you have because this is a personal relationship, okay? I know this person. And she's up on deck to come when she upgrades for our particular audience and what they need, okay? So I just want you to think about that.
Yeah, I love it. That's going back to that relevant. What's relevant right now for that? And
Yes.
ask those questions if you're not getting to where you want to get to. I think the only other thing I'll add in that I do after I've been on a stage is I take I take an opportunity to reach out to people online so that I keep relationships going online with people. And I think that's an important part of it is like you want them to continue to see you, and people won't always connect with you immediately off of being on the stage. So if somebody has sent something in and followed up, and is part of your community, all of a sudden you've got their email, take that next step and become connected with them on social so that you can build that nurturing sequence, right? It's like really staying in connection with them.
And can I just add, because we talked about the audience, can we talk about the event team? If
Mm-hmm.
you could send a thank you
Yes.
to the event team, a note,
Totally.
a letter, a journal, something, and just say, oh my God, it was such an amazing event. Thank you so much. I don't get those very often. And when I do, those people go to the top of my list. Just, it was just so lovely. You ran that event amazingly. People get to know me and they know that I love my Diet Coke and I love my Diet Coke from McDonald's. And I was just at an event and I'm going to Calgary and 10 to 1 there'll be Pepsi in the hotel because that's what it seems to be. And I don't get my Diet Coke. I have people that will bring in a Diet Coke from McDonald's that they picked up along the way. And it's just people who know me. And it's like those people stand out in my mind like, oh my God, I'm in love with you. Thank you so much. It's those little things that you can do for the event team just to make their life a little easier or brighten their day.
Yeah, love it so much. I love it. Love it. Okay, so we've got one more pearl of wisdom from each of you. What's something unexpected or game changing that you've learned about speaking as a client attraction tool? And then let everyone know how they can connect with you. So Monica, I'm going to let you kick us off on this one.
Okay. Um, my first thought just went back to that, like your aligned, congruent energy and how you communicate is your offer. You building that trust, no matter what it is, the words you're using, it's the energy that you bring is your offer. I did not know that in the beginning. I was so twisted on my words when I first started speaking. Ugh. And then like the perfectionism came into play. No. Like have a script, practice, let the perfection go and just be you because the right clients don't need convincing. They don't. It's just you being you. Ugh. And so it took me a bit to learn that. And then also, you know, you're you don't have to have the biggest stage to start. Just start small. Start where you're at. And wherever you're at in your journey of speaking, just keep going. Because your talk isn't the end of like we've just talked about, your talk isn't the end, it's just the beginning of building that relationship. So keep going.
Love it so much. Carrie? Oh, and how can people connect with, I mean, where do they find you?
Oh, me?
Yeah, Monica. Yeah.
Oh, hey, well, LinkedIn, Monica Vaughn on LinkedIn. Also, yes, I don't have a huge social presence on IG and then Facebook as well. But yes, monicavaughn.com is where I'm at naturally.
Excellent. And Carrie, how about you?
To answer your question first, Kimmy, the biggest thing I learned early on was the more human you can be right out of the gate when you're speaking, you level the playing field. So my big thing is I like to either get them to laugh or cry as soon as possible, because now we're connecting on a human level.
Yeah.
And now they're not just sitting there thinking, okay, I hope this is different than everybody else. Now they're going, okay, so she's been through some stuff, and now we're bonding. So the sooner you can learn to do that, the better. I have found it go, and I enjoy it. Not the crying so much. People love it when I cry on stage. I don't know why that is, but they do. I would rather get them to laugh.
Yeah.
So best way to connect with me is through my website. It's just carrieconley.com. You're going to find my newsletter there that you can sign up for, and you can reach out to me through there as well.
Excellent. Thank you. And Tony?
Oh, I think we're all on the same wavelength here.
Great.
Just, be you, Done is better than perfect.
I'm laughing, Tony. It's exactly what I wrote for myself.
Yeah, it just, if you're not you up there, you're not going to be you off the stage, and then people are going to find you inauthentic. And the way to be you is just to understand that just because everyone else, there are so many speaker trainers out there. Monica's a speaker trainer. I'm a speaker trainer. She does one thing, I do something different. We come at it in totally different ways. So just to understand, don't look and go, oh, there's plenty of those people out there. Everybody's doing it. You are unique. Your story is unique. Your experience is unique. So just get up there and share your story and talk from the heart and just share who you are and what you've been through, because there are people in that audience that really, really need to hear from you. They need to relate to you, and they need to know, oh my gosh, she understands me. And those are the people that are going to end up being in your community. So you're not for everybody. Just understand you're not going to get out there, and you're not everybody's cup of tea, but you are somebody's cup of tea. So just share yourself out there. Be authentic, be real. Try not to be perfect, because as women, we look at perfection and we see Barbie on the stage, and it's like, yeah, I want to see Lucille Ball on the stage. I want to see a Triple Little. I want, and just understand that, like Monica said, have your speech and everything. Come on, if you forget it, if you don't forget what you're saying, do we know it? Do we have your speech in front of us? No, just keep going.
Yeah. And where do they find you, Tony?
Oh, IamTonyCaruso.com is my website, or you can get me on Instagram at Tony Caruso Events.
Awesome. I love it. So for me, and as I mentioned, mine was be you and be vulnerable, right? Share your stories and just really come to the stage. But I'd also say embody your message, learn to embody your message and choose embodiment and just letting your message come from within you over perfect every single time, because that's what is going to connect with people. Learn to speak, eye to eye. It's like you're having a conversation with one person at a time, really in the room. And, you might have a room of 200 people, but one person at a time, eyes to eyes, and you're creating a heart to heart connection. And I think that's really beautiful. So that's what I've got for you. A couple things that to continue this conversation. I am teaching a master class that is going to be, it's called Proven Visibility Strategies. It's going to be on, I think on the 25th of this month. So it's coming up pretty quickly. I don't usually do those this quickly, but I've got that coming up this month in just in a week and a half or so. And so that is where we're going to get into how do you make your talk unforgettable, and how do you use that as a client attraction tool. We're going to talk about how you speak from your soul and create powerful, lasting connections, how that art of embodying your message and really landing with presence. And then also the strategies for getting the right speaking gigs, and so that you really align with your voice, your vision, and your audience. And we'll also touch on selling from the stage. So that is an online class that is free on the 25th. And then coming up in July, we have our 7th annual Soul Speaks from the Stage, which is an in-person speaker training. And that is going to be, it's 3 days. I do this with my partner, my business partner, Paula Friedland. And we put on an amazing 3 days where you're really learning to speak from your soul. You're getting out of your head. You are learning to embody your message. I teach some of the same things I'm going to be teaching in the Proven Visibility Strategies, but it's actually, you're in person and you get to do it in a way that gets you. And I'll tell you, Soul Speaks is work that changed how I speak. It was something that there was a point in my life where speaking was totally not going to be my thing. And Soul Speaks is what helped me get out of my head and get out of my own way. But we've also had people who have been speakers earning $20,000 on a stage and come to this conference and walk away going, I'm never speaking the same as I have, because they learn to speak from within. And it's really powerful work. So those are the 2 things I've got for you. I want to thank my panelists for showing up and joining us today. It has been a pleasure having you guys and having this conversation. And to all of you who have tuned in and listened, go out and speak, put your message out in the world. It's important. Our world needs your voice. And so thank you so much for everybody for joining us.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.